Imagine this. You're holding a tiny computer, the brain of a newborn baby. It has zero knowledge of grammar, zero vocabulary. Yet, within 3 years, it will have mastered the most complex system it will ever encounter, a language. How?
The shocking truth is that you, the adult, with decades of life experience, actually have a better language learning computer than that baby. The capacity is still there. The programming is still active. The only thing that's changed is the method. You've been using the wrong manual.
Today on Listen First English, we're going to open the hood on your brilliant brain. We're going to show you the internal blueprint for language acquisition and prove that you already know how to do this. Stay with us, and you'll discover the science behind Listen First.
Welcome back. I'm Ben, and this is Ava.
And we are so excited to dive into this one, Ben. Last time, we talked about why the old methods don't work. Today, we're talking about why this method, the natural first language method, is guaranteed to succeed.
It all comes down to the blueprint, Ava. Our brains are not blank slates.
Exactly. For years, educators treated the adult brain like it was too stiff, too old to learn naturally. They thought you had to force-feed it rules. You are too logical now. You must memorize irregular verbs.
But that's a myth, Ava. We all have what linguists call the language acquisition device, or LAD. It's the part of your brain that's specifically wired to decode sound patterns. It's a super recognizer for language. And it doesn't retire just because you turned 18.
The key difference is the system we activate. You have two systems for learning, the conscious, effortful system that you use for math problems, and the subconscious, automatic system you use to drive a car or ride a bike.
When you learn with flashcards and grammar tests, you're using the effortful system. It's slow, it requires massive concentration, and it causes that freezing we talked about last time.
But when you learn by listening first, you're bypassing the slow system and plugging directly into the automatic system. You're giving your brain the data it needs to start running its natural subconscious language program. You're letting the forest grow.
So let's talk about the 3 essential pillars of this blueprint. This is what your brain does on autopilot, and this is what we're going to feed it with, the Listen First method.
Pillar number 1, contextual association.
This is huge. When a baby hears mommy, they don't translate it into their native language. They immediately link that sound to a person, a feeling of comfort, a context. The sound is the meaning.
And that's what our A1 listening infant stage is all about. We feed you simple, clear English that is tied directly to a concept or a feeling. No translation needed. We teach your brain to link the sound of I am hungry directly to the feeling of an empty stomach, not to 3 separate words in your mother tongue.
Pillar number 2, pattern recognition. This is the brain's real superpower. Your brain loves patterns. It doesn't need a teacher to tell it the rule for the past tense. It just notices that after hearing walked, talked, and looked about 500 times, there's a pattern there. It figures out the rule without ever being told the rule.
That's the difference between learning grammar and acquiring grammar. Acquisition is intuitive. It's fast. And that's why we focus on high repetition, comprehensible listening content. We're feeding the pattern recognizer.
And finally, pillar number 3, the affective filter. This one is all about psychology. When a baby makes a mistake, they get a laugh or a hug. There's no fear. But in a classroom, making a mistake often brings correction, embarrassment, maybe a bad grade. That fear creates an affective filter, a mental block that stops language from going in.
That's why the Listen First A1 stage has zero pressure to speak. Zero. We want you to relax, to just enjoy the sounds. We are turning that filter off. A relaxed brain is a learning brain.
Okay, Ava, we've established that the blueprint is still active, but we aren't babies. We have an adult brain with decades of life experience. How do we use that to our advantage? How do we hack the system?
That's the fun part. We have an immense advantage, our existing knowledge base. When a baby hears two adults arguing, they have no idea what they're saying. When you hear two people arguing in English, you understand the concept of arguing. You understand the emotion. You understand the context of the words you do catch.
This is what makes comprehensible input so crucial for adults. Simplified, it means you need to be listening to English that you mostly understand, but that stretches you just a tiny bit. It's English that's I+1.
Our podcast content will be carefully designed for this. You won't just be listening to random chatter. You'll be listening to simple stories and clear dialogues, where the context makes the new words understandable. Your adult brain will use its experience to fill in the gaps, absorbing the new language like a high-powered vacuum.
Think of it like a scientist observing an experiment. The baby is observing random noise. The adult is observing a carefully controlled, meaningful event. We use our life experience to accelerate the process a baby takes a year to complete. We are hacking the acquisition process with our intelligence.
And this also addresses the grammar fear. Because we have existing language structures, when we hear a new language's pattern a few hundred times, our brain instantly compares it to our native structure. It sees the rule and integrates it much faster than a baby ever could. You don't need a rule book, you need enough data.
So let's talk specifics for those of you about to dive into our A1 listening infant content. Your mission is simple, but it requires discipline.
First, no translation. You must fight the urge to stop the podcast and look up every word. If you look it up, you are activating the slow, effortful system. You are killing the pattern recognizer. Let the meaning sink in through context. Trust the process.
Second, focus on rhythm. Don't just hear the words, hear the music. Notice the stresses, the pauses, the intonation. Are they asking a question? Are they excited? Your brain is decoding those emotional and sonic cues first. That's the real blueprint.
And third, relax. Put your headphones on. Go for a walk. Do the dishes. The beauty of this method is that your conscious brain doesn't have to be working hard. The best learning happens when you are relaxed and simply letting the language wash over you. It's the ultimate learning hack, and it's pretty fun.
Today, we've shown you the blueprint. Your adult brain is perfectly wired to acquire English naturally. The key is bypassing translation, trusting contextual association, and relaxing your affective filter.
The language is already programmed inside you. You just need to press the right button. And that button is the listen button.
Now you know why this works, but what do you actually listen to? Next time on Listen First English, we're going to step into the first official stage, beyond babble, what the listening infant stage really means for you.
We'll give you clear examples of the type of content you should be listening to, how to find it, and how to measure your progress without ever saying a word.
Thanks for joining us, Ava.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you all for tuning in. Subscribe to Listen First English to make sure you get that next crucial episode. Start listening today.